Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Quintin Shepherd, your superintendent, and I'm here to deliver for you the state of our district address. Now, we did this address live, and we had a wonderful experience. Several folks came out from our community, but we recognized that not all of you could be there because, of course, we're busy doing the work of educating our kids and making sure that our kids are in school and thriving. And we wanted to make the state of the district available to all of you as well. So what I'll be doing next is going through the slideshow presentation and delivering the remarks that I've provided to our community as well. Please enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present to you the state of the district in 2025. I want to start by talking about who we are. Again, as we think about our district, there's so many things that are worth sharing, and I won't go through everything on this slide, but it's important to point out that we have about 1,800 teachers, and our student-to-teacher ratio is 14-1. I also always like to point out our beginning teacher salary is $58,300 a year, and that's a point that I'll come back to in a few minutes. But that's who we are. And now, let's remember our why.
By 2029, our goal is clear. Every graduate leaves with more than a diploma. They leave ready for employment, enlistment, or enrollment. The 3 E's. 100% of graduates. And it will take all of us, from classroom teachers, to cafeteria employees, to district and campus staff. We are already bridging the gap with expanded college access, innovative systems, and a renewed culture of belonging. We're creating clear paths forward, encouraging risk, embracing growth, and aligning action with purpose. When students wake up the day after graduation, they should know exactly where they're going. To their job, to serve, or to college. The 3 E's, every graduate ready for what's next.
That's such a great reminder of why we do what we do. And now let's look behind the scenes at what it is that we do and how we do what we do. I'd like to start with operations, and specifically, I'd like to talk about some of our unsung heroes behind the scenes. So what we're looking at here is the 175 custodians cover over 4 million square feet of campuses. And to put this into perspective, of the 20 PfISD grounds employees, they maintain 1,300 acres. That's 3 times the size of UT Austin. So again, 20 grounds employees maintain a surface area that's 3 times the size of UT Austin. And here's the really interesting fact that connects to that. UT Austin has 4 times as many employees as we do. So again, 4 times as many employees that are covering a third the same amount of ground, just to give some perspective on what our folks do every single day and how they are indeed making our schools a fantastic place for kids and teachers to be. I'd also like to talk a little bit about transportation. We have 109 bus drivers who transport about 9,000 students every day. That means that they drive 1.5 million miles annually, which is 3 trips to the moon and back every single year. Again, just unsung heroes, because these are the folks who deliver our most precious cargo to school and again back home every single day. Let's talk a little bit about our communications team, our award-winning communications team. What you'll see on the chart we have here, 18,000 followers on Facebook, almost 10,000 followers on Instagram. We recently this year launched the digital magazine. If you haven't had a chance to sign up for that, you get it in the email. You can also find it on our social media, and also it can be found on the front page of our website. This is the newest addition to our communications platforms, and it is fantastic. The community is enjoying it, and it's just robust stories about our kids and our staff and the great work that we're doing across the district. Also, we have the administration report, almost 20,000 views of the administration report. The thing that I always say about the administration report is this is the single best source of information. If you want to know what's happening from a strategic context, from the boardroom to the classroom, the administration report is laid out in such a way that it is in fact our strategic plan. Think of it like chapters of a book. Each chapter is the finding and direction from our strategic plan, and then what you read beyond that is the work of the district as we try to advance that strategic plan. Again, it is comprehensive information, it is a dense report, and it is put together every single month for our trustees, for our community, and for you. And then lastly, school status, with over 30,000 stakeholders reached with every single message that we send out. The communications team is working non-stop. Let's look a little bit at some of the metrics of success. So what we have here is a line chart that's showing the enrollment, and we have a bar chart that is showing the total views with the Instagram accounts. And so what you see is that we have far more views than somebody like Austin ISD, which actually has far more students than us, almost 3 times the number of students that we have. But this chart is a little bit disingenuous. We pulled out one very important viral reel, which adjusts the average. When we add the viral reel into the average, this would be like everybody sitting in a room together, and we somehow come up with the average salary of the people in the room. And then if Elon Musk walked in and we asked the average salary of everybody in the room, we would all be multimillionaires. Well, this is the same thing that happens when we add this one viral reel into our metrics, and that chart then looks like this. And you can see that when we add in the viral reel, what you see is the other charts virtually disappear. The other districts virtually disappear. That's because with a viral video, you can see it was as if Elon Musk walked into the room. It brought up the average exponentially. So that viral reel really does paint the full story of the average views. And again, just kudos to our team that made that happen. Let's look at that video now. Let's move on to our award-winning finance team as well and look at some charts, again, historic charts, and also charts that compare to other school districts. So what we have here is the total assessed taxable values in the line chart on the top. These are the total assessed taxable values. Think this is the value of your home or the value of a business, and we see it going up. This is arguably a good thing. It means that people want to move to this community and people want to stay in this community. Home values are appreciating. What you see in the bar chart below is the tax rate. And so what this story tells us is that this is a school board and an administration that for several years has been working to be fiscally responsible stewards of taxpayer resources, and whenever possible, decreasing the tax rate. This chart helps answer a question that stumbles a lot of people, which is, why is it that the school district is taking more money from my taxes every year? We can in fact say that we're taking less in taxes every year, but the reason people are paying more is because home values go up. What we're looking at here is the PfISD student investment. This is the amount that we invest in our students over the course of the last 5 years. And what you can see is that every year we're investing more. This is a good news chart, but it also paints a sort of a news story that I think is important, which is that if you were to compare this to, say, inflation, what we know is that our students are getting what they would have gotten about 5 years ago. In reality, if we think back 5 years ago, the needs of our educational system have changed rather dramatically. Just think about one example in particular, the advent and deployment of AI. We know that we can be and should be doing more for our kids. Unfortunately, just keeping up with inflation is not going to be enough for our spend for our kids. And this is why it's a constant struggle with the state to have them release more money for us in the foundation formula so that we can continue to educate kids in the world that they live in and the future that they're going to walk into. Let's look at the next chart, which is the PfISD fund balance as a comparison to other school districts in the area. Now, for me as a superintendent, the easy way to explain fund balance is to think of it like the glide path of an airplane. You don't want the fund balance to go up too fast without a good reason, but you also don't want it coming down too fast without a good reason. In essence, what you really want is just a steady and controlled path with a good rationale and understanding about what's happening and why, and can we predict where the glide path is going in the future. So what you see here, if you look at PfISD, is a steady glide path, perhaps the most steady glide path of any of the districts on this chart. That's a wonderful story. It shows the financial acumen of our finance department. It shows that the board has been astutely aware of what's happening and making good, sound, solid decisions. But also it's the recognition that all school districts, including ours, are trending downward. And we're seeing it right now with school closures that happened in Leander last year. We know that Austin is going through the same situation this year. We as a district, we had a community finance committee last year. This year we're starting the optimization process. So we know there's a conversation coming about how we can control our glide path. I'd also like to point out some of the other districts in our area. You can see where there's been big swings, down and upswings, which is never a comfortable position for a district to be in, to be putting in, millions of dollars in the bank and then losing millions of dollars otherwise. And you see some examples of school districts that are plummeting rather rapidly. We just don't want to find ourselves in any of those situations ever. Let's talk about financial accountability ratings. Out of all the A ratings given out by TEA for financial integrity, 90% of those belong to public schools. That means, as a matter of fact, public schools are the highest financially rated schools when you compare those to charters. Charters make up 31% of the F ratings. Let's talk a little bit about staff. Our teacher incentive allotment is indeed a crown jewel for us. We know that in 22-23 we had 92 teachers, and that then grew in the next year to 400. In the next year, 528, and in 25-26, 646 teachers received the teacher incentive allotment. That is 36% of our staff will be TIA designated by May of 2026. And here's the really also important statistic that goes along with that. We retain 94% of our teachers who earn their TIA. What that means is that once a teacher earns their TIA, they're not necessarily leaving the district to go somewhere else. They're staying here. They're proving that their commitment is to our kids and to our community, which is indeed a great thing. Let's look at salary comparisons across the several districts that we often compare to. And I mentioned this in the Who We Are slide, and I want to come back to it here. You can see, if you look to the left of this slide, that we lead the market in entry-level salaries. We are above all of the comparison districts in our area. And if you look at the 5-year average, we're still well above the comparable districts in the area. We then keep ground in the 10 to 15 years, so we have balanced step increases that meet where everyone else is as well. And then you see that we fall to second place as you get out to 20 years. But I would also like to point out just $349 under Round Rock, so very close. Round Rock at the highest ceiling. We would love to be able to meet that threshold, and certainly that's our intention. Again, I'll call back to the optimization work that we're doing this year. It is our hope to continue to have the highest salaries in the area. Let's look for a moment at our teacher certifications. We know that every classroom led by a certified teacher is a great thing. So we're facing the teacher shortage just like every other school district in Texas. However, look at this amazing statistic. Through the last year, 24-25 to 25-26, we've reduced the number of uncertified teachers by 28% this year. This is a decidedly good thing. It means that we're able to recruit great teachers and obviously retain those great teachers, and that means that students are the ultimate beneficiaries. Students taught by a certified teacher in the classroom frankly just get a better education, and we know this to be true. Let's talk about guest educators, our substitute success. We have an overall increase of 20% in our substitute fill rate. We're constantly looking for folks to fill these ranks for us and help support us as we need. During the State of the District, the live version of the State of the District, I invited participants to even sign up and become substitute teachers in our classrooms. I hope they take us up on it. Let's also talk for a little bit about climate and culture. And we pulled out just 4 charts from the Upbeat survey that we were really interested in. The first one is satisfaction and purpose. You can see that that's up almost 10% over the last 4 years. If you look at belonging and well-being, this is also up about 5%. School safety and order, again, up 8% in the last 4 years. And finally, work-life balance, where we've made the greatest gains. It's a 13% increase in work-life balance. These are metrics that we take very seriously. We appreciate everyone who fills out these surveys. We encourage you to continue filling out these surveys because it is a metric that we're constantly looking at. We want for our schools to be a place where people feel like they belong, they feel like there's a work-life balance, they feel like they're safe, and that there's satisfaction in the work they're doing. Finally, let's turn our attention to the students themselves and look at some of the academic metrics to determine the state of our district. If we look at the total student enrollment by campus by overall score, let's start at the right side of this chart. On the right side of this chart, you see the number of students who were in D campuses or F campuses. That number has dramatically decreased over the last 3 years. This is a huge congratulations for every single member of our staff, not just our teaching staff, but all of the support staff who make this possible. When kids are in school and when they feel like they belong at school and when they have full bellies and they've had nutritious lunches and they're supported outside the classroom, they come to class and they learn. And we know this to be true over the last 3 years. And then look what happens on the A-rated campuses and the B-rated campuses. If you go back from 2023 to 2025, you see a massive jump in the number of students in A-rated campuses. Again, if you look at 23 to 25, you see a substantial jump in the number of students in B-rated campuses and also in C-rated campuses. Ladies and gentlemen, we are definitely trending in the right direction, and I would say the state of our district when it comes to academics is healthy and strong. Let's look at some of our accountability highlights. What we have here is PfISD compared to statewide data. The schools that improved one letter grade at the state was approximately 30%, and for our district, it was about 40%. So we did markedly better than the state. You can see the number of A or B rated schools were slightly under the state average. If you look at CCMR rates, we outperform the state, and if you look at the graduation rates, we also outperform the state. This is definitely the place we want to be and continue to be. This next chart is about chronic absenteeism and the rate decrease. And this is a rather complicated chart at first, and we're not typically used to looking at chronic absenteeism. I'd like for you to start at the bottom. At the bottom, you're looking at Pflugerville ISD, and what you see is a more than 4% decrease in chronic absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism is defined by students who are missing 10 days or more per year. We had a massive decrease in the number of chronically absent students in our overall attendance. And then what you have listed in the bar charts above are all of our secondary campuses, middle and high school campuses. And so what you see is we have had some phenomenal success, and there's also some campuses where we have some improvement to make. This is okay. It's all part of the state of our district. Overall, though, we have seen marked improvement, and of course this will continue to be an area of focus for us. Now, this next report is kind of fun because our eyes are telling us something must be wrong with this chart. Something looks to appear to be an outlier, and in fact, it might be, but in a very good way. So if you just ignore the 2026 line for just a moment and look at the other lines, you'll see that they follow sort of a similar trend. And this is our attendance report. We start off, and then there's a general kind of leveling off, and then a decrease in the 4th 6-week interval, and then it comes back. But throughout the year, it tends to drop off in the attendance report. But let's look very specifically at 2026. We made a concerted effort last year to improve our attendance and to make sure that we were reducing chronic absenteeism, and there's been a carryover or a spillover effect. What we see in this year is this massive uptick from the first 6 weeks to the second 6 weeks. I am very hopeful that this sets a new bar for us, that this sets a new metric, a new baseline, if you will. These attendance ratings are closer to what they should have been pre-pandemic levels, and I think this foreshadows a really, really good scenario for us if we can keep this up. So congratulations to everyone who's been helping our students focus on attendance, making sure that our kiddos are here every day and have a reason to come back to school and stay engaged every single day. Let's talk briefly about college, career, and military readiness in PfISD. What you see here are some of our career academies and our P-Tech Academy and our early college high school, some amazing programs that we have for our students. What we're looking at here between 23-24 and 24-25 are the industry-based certifications that our students have earned, and you can see across the board the increase that we've seen here. This is fantastic. This gets back to what we said at Convocation and what I've repeated dozens, if not hundreds of times this fall, which is there are no lesser paths to a great education. We need to focus on industry-based certifications because this is what allows our students to graduate and have a high-paying, high-wage, on-demand job the day after high school. This is how we fulfill one of those 3 E's, employment. Let's look at college credentials earned. So for those who earned a level 1 certificate in 23-24, and then for those who earned an associate degree in 24 and 25, we doubled the number of students who earned their level 1 certificates and associate's degree. We made huge strides, and this is just the beginning. As we continue to focus on pathways for our students and the 3 E's promise, we will continue to make even greater progress. Let's look at advanced placement for just a minute. Advanced placement, you'll see that the total number of students has gone up slightly, but the number of exams has gone up noticeably. Also, the number of students who've scored a 3 or plus on the AP has gone up noticeably. Over the last 5 years, the percentage of those who scored a 3 or better to earn their college credit increased from 51.5% to 76%, almost a 25% increase. Let's also look at dual credit course enrollment for just a minute. What we see here is a pretty stable number, and that's okay. We as a district have traditionally focused on AP. That has been the pathway that we focused on with our students, and this is a good thing. What we want to do moving forward is to also expand pathway opportunities for our kids in dual credit. We've made some real efforts in the last 18 months to try to expand those offerings, and we're just getting started. We're really going to push hard so that students have both AP and dual credit possibilities for them, because all students need to be on a pathway of their own choosing as they work through high school. What we do see is a pretty substantial increase for Connolly High School in the number of students who've gone through dual credit opportunities. Again, this is an area of focus for us and definitely an area of growth. I can't wait to see where we are 5 years from now. Let's look at our dual credit success rate from spring 2025. What you see over the last 3 years is sort of a level approach and a level success rate across the board at all of our schools. This is showing the great work that we've put into dual credit in the past. However, I do believe that there's room for improvement here too. Just as we begin to focus more as a district on dual credit, we expect that the dual credit success rate will resemble what happened in our AP success rate. It only goes up from here. Our epic goal, of course, is doing the impossible. By 2029, all PfISD graduates will cross the stage with a diploma and one of their 3 E's, either employment, enlistment, or enrollment. There are no lesser paths to a great education. We know this. We know that this 3E goal is not just a high school goal. It begins in kindergarten and even pre-kindergarten, that there are certain predictive gateways that students need to be able to go through so that they can find that success on graduation day. Let's look just very briefly at one of the middle school initiatives that we've launched and the success around that initiative.
Hi, I'm Macy Down. I am a teacher here at Pflugerville Middle School. I teach our Pathways to Careers course. This course is a first-year course that we are focused on enlistment, enrollment, or employment for our students. Our primary goal is for students to have a fun way to explore the 16 pathways that we have for our students and help them understand the endorsements and how these choices will affect them for the next 4 years in high school.
My favorite experience was when Officer Diller came to teach us about the Law and Public Safety Department. And what I learned from that was how there were different pathways that I could go to instead of being a police officer.
I believe this early exposure helps our students have an understanding of the relevance of the courses they are taking. So whenever they get into high school, it's not just a bunch of courses that they're not passionate about, but they can see an end goal in mind. And so everything that they're taking will lead to success in the future. I also believe that having this opportunity to understand their strengths and weaknesses now will help them in that decision-making process.
One career field that have caught my interest the most is public services, because I want to do special ed in the future to help my brother and other students. The career that has caught my attention is audio production, because it helped me expand my vocabulary, see other students' point of views of like the school, athletics, and like their sport, and it helped me like just get out of my comfort zone in doing like interviews on different students.
I am hoping that my students will understand that there's no right way for the future and that they have a good chance to understand their strengths and their weaknesses to help them understand what it is they want to do post-secondary. I'm hoping that my students have a fun time exploring, making mistakes, and then growing from that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the state of our district is indeed strong. It is my humble honor to serve as your superintendent. Congratulations to all of us on work well done, and I'm eager to see what's in store for our future. Thank you.